Everyone knows the score. The assholes get everything, while decent people scrape for crumbs. We tell ourselves stories about karma and justice, but deep down we all see the same pattern. The worst people climbing highest, the kindest getting crushed. Let's see why this happens. And spoiler, it's not about personality traits or willpower or any of this psychological garbage. This is about system architecture. When I say asshole, I'm not talking about someone who's just rude or difficult. I'm talking about the dark triad, those who manipulate without hesitation, exploit without guilt, take without giving back. Those who see other people as resources to extract value from. You know exactly who I mean because you've met them. They probably run your company, or maybe it's your ex. The asshole wins because they're perfectly optimized for the game we're all forced to play. They don't have the internal blocks that hold everyone else back. No shame shutting them down mid-manipulation. No guilt making them reconsider. No empathy creating friction in their decision-making process. But here's the crucial part. This isn't strength. This is just compatibility with a parasitic operating system. Let's think about it from the system's perspective. The asshole is the perfect agent. No complex moral architecture to navigate, no internal conflicts slowing them down. They are driven by simple external stimuli: power, money, recognition. The system doesn't need sophisticated programming to control them. They're systems bulldozers, perfectly matched to a simple, brutal algorithm. What makes someone good in our society? They follow rules, they constantly monitor others' emotional states, they question themselves endlessly. They're terrified of causing even the slightest discomfort to anyone. Not just harm, but any negative feeling. They'll destroy themselves before they risk disappointing someone. I was like this my whole life. Remember being forced to apologize even when you weren't wrong. Remember being told to share when someone just took your stuff. Remember learning that standing up for yourself was being difficult. It wasn't teaching you morality. It was installing control software. The programming starts even earlier, in the stories you absorbed before you could think critically. Every fairy tale hammered the same code. Good people suffer nobly until magic rewards them. Cinderella scrubs floors and stays kind until a prince saves her. The little match girl freezes to death, dreaming of warmth. Pinocchio learns that lying is worse than being exploited by adults. The giving tree lets itself be destroyed piece by piece and calls it love. The message is consistent. Endure abuse gracefully and rescue will come, or death will at least be meaningful. The villain is always obviously evil, irrationally cruel, and ultimately stupid enough to lose. Real predators aren't like that. They're smart, charming, and they've learned to look like the prince while acting like the witch. But these childhood stories train you to wait for salvation instead of saving yourself, to endure instead of resist, to believe that suffering is just the price of eventual happiness. And this same template gets recycled forever, from Disney movies to Marvel heroes to Netflix dramas. The suffering hero who wins by staying pure. The same virus, just updated graphics. And then parents telling you not to be selfish, teachers punishing you for talking back, bosses expecting you to sacrifice without complaint. Every authority figure in your life programmed these limiters into you. They called it being good, but what they really built was obedience. The programming isn't always harsh. There are a lot of soft versions of it. Therapists teaching you to manage your anger instead of using it. Life coaches preaching you choose your reaction while you're being exploited. Spiritual teachers insisting you must forgive your abusers to heal. Wellness gurus selling you on letting go when you should be holding accountable. They wrap the same control code in healing language, but it's the same virus. Keep you docile, keep you accepting, keep you from recognizing that your rage might actually be the sanest response to an insane system. The parasite learned that some people resist the whip but surrender to the hug. So if you're a people pleaser, it's not your fault. It's not even your choice. It's a mind virus that was deliberately injected into your brain. The good person isn't naturally good. They're programmed to be manageable. They're taught to play by rules that don't actually exist in the real game. They defend a system that's actively exploiting them because they've been coded to see their own anger as inappropriate, resistance as selfishness, boundaries as cruelty. They're walking around with software that makes them perfect prey. This hierarchy is a system where positions aren't earned by competence or integrity, but by compatibility with parasitic logic. It's not a ladder, it's a sorting algorithm for extracting maximum value from those most willing to self-sacrifice while elevating those most willing to betray. The system actively filters for its ideal agents. Every promotion, every success story, every reward is the system selecting for those who serve it best. And here's the calculation. Honest thinking people are dangerous mutations in this ecosystem. They have an internal compass that doesn't depend on external rewards. They act from conviction rather than conditioning. This makes them unpredictable and uncomfortable. One authentic person can break the entire program in a group just by existing, by showing there's another way. The system can't risk that contagion spreading. This, by the way, also explains why narcissists are so eager to break their victims if their victims are unforgivably alive. So the asshole learns to be on top of this hierarchy. Look at corporate leadership dominated by people with psychopathic traits. Look at politics. Narcissists and manipulators rise to the top. Look at any competitive field where resources are limited and stakes are high. The shameless always win because shame was never about morality. It was about control. But here's the deeper function. These assholes aren't just winning. They're setting the standard. When they occupy the highest positions, their behavior becomes the norm others aspire to. They demonstrate that to succeed, you must abandon your conscience. It's a filtering program that eliminates anyone who won't serve the system. Your programmed goodness makes you completely predictable. Every manipulator knows exactly how to play you. Mention their hardship, you'll feel guilty. Question their motives, you'll doubt yourself first. Set a boundary, you'll apologize for it. Your morality isn't just limiting you, it's a detailed map of all your weak points, and everyone without that programming can read it perfectly. They know you'll always choose others over yourself, always give the benefit of the doubt, always feel bad for protecting your own interests. You're not being kind, you're running predictable code, and they know every line of it. We have this collective mythology that good behavior gets rewarded. Work hard and you'll succeed. Be kind and people will be kind back. Play fair and the universe will be fair to you. Turn the other cheek, love thy neighbor, treat people how you want to be treated, blah, blah, blah. The masses are programmed with biblical morality, while the rulers operate on Machiavellian principles. You're taught to forgive while they're taught to never forget. You're taught to sacrifice while they're taught to accumulate. You are taught that meekness is strength, while they know that power respects only power. This isn't just wrong, it's deliberately wrong. One moral system for the sheep, another for the wolves. And they've convinced the sheep that being eaten is somehow virtuous. Take any successful politician or CEO. They'll talk about values, integrity, giving back to the community, total performance. Behind closed doors, they're making decisions that destroy lives without losing a second of sleep. They use the language of morality as camouflage while operating on pure self-interest. And we keep falling for it because we're programmed to believe the costume instead of watching the behavior. And here's what really confirms we're dealing with one unified system, not multiple separate ones. Like, people sometimes ask me, what do I mean by the system? The political system, family system, the religion, etc. It's one big mechanism that infects literally everything. When you see this pattern, suddenly everything clicks. The parents and teachers who crushed your will and made you feel guilty for having boundaries, they're running the same program as the executives and politicians who exploit millions without blinking. Your childhood conditioning to be good was manufacturing compliance for the same system that rewards predators at the top. That teacher who punished you for questioning authority was installing the same software that later makes you accept an abusive boss. That parent who taught you to always consider others first was programming you to be extracted from. The moral framework you were given wasn't designed to make you a good person. It was designed to make you a good resource. Once you see this, the world stops being confusing. It stops being random chaos where bad things happen to good people for no reason. There's a logic to it, a parasitic logic, but logic nonetheless. The game is rigged, but it's rigged consistently. The same algorithm runs at every level: family, school, workplace, society. Suppress will, exploit guilt, reward shamelessness. You see it even in intimate relationships. One partner plays narcissist, the other plays victim, and they repeat this dance over and over. Different faces, same pattern. If you find yourself stuck in this dynamic repeatedly, it's not you being broken, traumatized by your narcissistic mother, or attracting the wrong people. It's the program running exactly as designed, the same mind virus controlling the whole society. And don't think that the narcissist is the happy one in such a relationship. I remember I was trying to be a bitch a couple of times when I was little, and all you get is a temporary high of feeling important, but you always know it's temporary. You know it's not genuine and it's not gonna last. So you have to keep playing the game to keep your victim hooked. Some of you probably had such an experience too, when you tried to date a good boy or a good girl, and all you felt for them was contempt. It wasn't you, it was the system exposing its roles. The victim-predator dynamic isn't personal, it's systemic. You might ask, but if I free myself from guilt and shame, won't I become one of those assholes? This question itself is a proof that the system still has its hooks in you. Why do you think the only options are obedient victim or predatory asshole? Like the system is telling you, stay in your cage or become a monster. Classic binary trap. This false dichotomy is deliberately engineered. The system needs you to believe that any resistance to submission automatically makes you dangerous. Question authority, you're rebellious. Set boundaries, you're selfish. refuse to sacrifice yourself, you're the villain. This isn't accidental, it's architectural. The system protects itself by making you terrified of your own power, convincing you that using it means becoming what you hate. Every time you consider standing up for yourself, this program activates. If I'm not compliant, I must be a threat. That fear keeps you locked in place. The shame and guilt you carry aren't your ethical instincts. They're control mechanisms installed by others. When you remove them, you don't become a monster. You return to your original state, where you can actually see clearly and decide for yourself. Think of it like chess. The system is the board, which is a binary black and white matrix, and we're all assigned pieces. The good people are pawns, limited movement, sacrificed first, told that dying for the king is noble. The assholes are queens, maximum mobility, destroying everything in their path, protected by the very structure of the game. Both are still just pieces on the same board, playing by the same rules. I'm pretty sure you have seen all the other pieces in real life as well. The knights bypassing rules, always jumping over others. The bishops preaching morality while serving power. The rooks, rigid, straight line power, building walls and keeping order. And the king, the sacred idol, barely moving, but everything revolves around its survival. The pawn doesn't become free by turning into a queen. Even promoted, it's still trapped in the game, just with a better role. The asshole queen looks powerful, moves without restriction, takes whatever it wants. They're different, but they're still just executing moves in the same matrix. Still confined to 64 squares, playing out predetermined patterns. And just like these pieces can't choose how they move, you can't break out of the people-pleasing loop or stop falling for narcissists without stepping off the board entirely. The asshole isn't free either. Their shamelessness is still slavery, just the other pole of it. They're winning precisely because they're the system's perfect product. They perform victory while being as hollow as everyone else trapped in the machine. The champagne in yachts are props in a performance of success that masks the same fundamental emptiness. I can totally see some of them tearing up and starting to sell their yachts after watching this video. Real freedom isn't about becoming ruthless. It's about stepping outside the entire victim-predator dynamic. It's recognizing that both roles are products of the same system. The good person and the asshole are both following scripts, just different ones. One script says, sacrifice yourself. The other says, sacrifice others. Perfect match for the parasitic mechanism. When you actually deprogram, you stop needing to be either. You don't need to prove you're good by suffering. You don't need to prove you're powerful by making others suffer. You can act from clarity instead of conditioning, from actual choice instead of programmed responses. You become useless to the system because you're neither fuel nor engine. You're just gone from their game. And if you start noticing when guilt and shame light up in your body, that tension before saying no, that anxiety about disappointing someone, that fear of protecting your own interests, those sensations may stop looking like morality and start looking like control switches. And the moment you ask yourself, is this my actual boundary or is this programming? Who benefits when I back down? Who installed this fear? The system starts to reveal itself. So why do assholes always win? Because the game is written in their language. The whole system is structured to reward those who can extract without hesitation and punish those who hesitate to protect themselves. Your guilt and self-doubt aren't bugs in your programming. They're features designed to make you exploitable. The entire mechanism isn't about fairness or merit. It's about survival. The system's survival, not yours. The assholes are both its filter and its shield. They cut out anyone who might threaten the program, while their success forces everyone else to either conform or suffer in isolation. And suffering, as you might have noticed, is what keeps the whole machine running. As long as you think the problem is your personal weakness or their personal strength, you'll keep playing a rigged game. The solution isn't to become them. It's to see the board clearly, understand the real rules, and decide whether you want to play at all. Because the only way to win this game is to stop letting it define what winning means. The assholes will keep winning as long as we keep playing. They need us to be ashamed so they can be shameless. They need us to follow rules so they can break them. They need us to believe in fairness so they can exploit our belief. The moment we stop feeding the system with our compliance and guilt, the moment we stop being good resources, their victory becomes meaningless. Barely moving. It was the system exposing its roles. То, блядь, ёбаная муха. Props in the performance of success. Ah, yes! Ho, ho, ho. Сука.